If you're looking for some juicy NFL free agency rumors, you're in the right place. Today's show presented by Manscaped. Any guy out there, if a girl comes across this video too, hey, Mitchell Renz, what's going on? But seriously, head on over to manscaped.com/chat where you guys can save 20% off and get free shipping on the best male grooming products out there. I promise you this, if you're rocking a crazy George W., then you're telling you, you need to go use Manscaped products. The Lawnmower 4.0 just came out, manscaped.com/chat. Are the Browns going to sign free agent cornerback Steven Nelson? Bleacher Report broke down an article and basically said, hey, one move that every single NFL team needs to make, the Browns were listed to go out and get Nelson. When I actually saw this, I actually thought it was kind of interesting because when I look at the Browns defense, I think they're pretty well set. But the biggest reason why that this is the move that they should end up making is because they still have $21 million in cap space. The AFC North, I would go along to say it's probably going to be one of the most competitive divisions in the National Football League. And if you can find a player that knows one of your division rivals, remember, Nelson played last season with the Pittsburgh Steelers. If you can bring him in and not only maybe give you a few little tips and tricks of what the Steelers like to do, but he's also a pretty darn good defender. And if you can get some extra depth at the cornerback position, that's never a bad thing. So last season, 48 tackles, 2 interceptions, 9 pass breakups. It's been a weird offseason, not only for Nelson, but a lot of players on the free agent market because there's a lot of big-name players still out there. When you look at some of the numbers, though, from 2020, that's great. I also want to give you his track record over the last 4 seasons as well. Remember, he came into the NFL in 2015, but only played in 12 games, didn't start in any, which is why I'm only going to include the numbers right here. 2018 was really his breakout year where I thought he really took a big time next step. He's good against the run. He's good against the pass. He's really pretty average at just about everything. He's not below average at anything. But when I show you this Browns defensive back depth chart, a lot of you are going to be like, where the heck are you going to play him? They went out and drafted Greg Newsome from Northwestern, so why would you bring him in? You have Greedy Williams. You don't know if you're going to end up extending him. You got Denzel Ward. I mean, there's a lot of different routes that this defense could go. Plus, in free agency, they added John Johnson, and then they also added Troy Hill in the nickel. The reason why that this move would make some sense if you have some money to spend, it's kind of just like what they did with Jadeveon Clowney. They didn't need to do it, but it made them a better football team. Going out and adding Steven Nelson makes you a better team. And if you're worried about a guy like Greg Newsome, who has had some injury issues at Northwestern. I mean, played in just 21 games in 3 years. Do the math, 7 per year. But he's a very talented player. But if you don't know if he's going to be able to stay healthy, that worries you a little bit. And for the Browns, you're going for a Super Bowl. I know it might sound weird to a lot of people, but the moves they made tell me that this team's going for a Super Bowl. And I liked Greedy Williams a lot when he was coming out of college out of LSU. This was a player I was like, man, he's got the length, he's got all the athletic ability. But the biggest thing hindering him is the fact that he can't stay healthy. Just 12 games in 2 years. The one thing that Nelson has been able to do since coming into the National Football League is being able to stay healthy. So what do y'all think here? This is what Chat Sports is all about. Should the Browns go out and sign free agent cornerback Steven Nelson? I want you to go down in the comments section and type Y for yes. If you're going to sit here and say N for no, that's fine. But to anybody out there that is going to type that Y for yes, take the extra step. Let me know maybe what kind of contract you think he's going to get. Personally, at this point, I believe a lot of free agents are going to sign a 1-year deal. If he could probably get somewhere around what a Casey Hayward end up getting, maybe 1 year, $2.5, $3 million is the route I think he goes. Now, if y'all love the NFL, subscribe for more free videos. Yes, I said it, free videos for the next 365 days, so you better take advantage of this deal. Turn on those notifications as well, because if any of these free agents that we talk about on today's episode end up getting signed, I don't want you to miss it. So the biggest reason to subscribe and turn on those noties is to stay up to date. Now, some people out there and be like, how the heck do you turn on your notifications? How do you join the Noti gang? I know if I told my mom to join the Noti gang, she'd be like, Mitchell, what are you talking about? Ma, I got you covered. You got to go to the settings app on your phone, scroll on down and tap YouTube, then tap notifications, and then turn on allow notifications. I'm actually surprised that only 18% of the watchers here at Chat Sports have their notifications turned on. That needs to go up much, much higher here. The other reason why I want you guys to turn on noties, I want to give some love to the people that have their noties on and are always commenting first. So the last 5 videos that were on Chat Sports, here were the people that commented on the video first. So shout out to Jacob Moore, Julian, Jeff, Mariners fan. I'm personally a Mets fan. And then Meet the McCains. So shout out to y'all, and if you want a shout out coming up here on some upcoming shows, turn on those notifications. Are the Denver Broncos going to go out and sign free agent offensive tackle Rick Wagner? In a recent article by Bleacher Report, they broke down one move that every NFL team should make, listed for Denver, going out and finding a right tackle. Once the Broncos released Jawan James due to that torn Achilles, if y'all remember, he was one of the best right tackles in the entire league. Didn't play in 2020 due to COVID and was ultimately released by the football team. But this means this. If you're Denver and you're looking for a starting right tackle, maybe that could be Rick Wagner, right? Maybe. However, he is starting to get up there in age a little bit, 31 years old, and he was once a staple, I would say, on this Green Bay Packers offensive line. But I was pretty surprised that they let him go. Now, maybe some people might say, okay, it was due to money here and there, but it was also injuries as well thrown in there. But it played 13 games last season, 1 sack allowed. But when you look right now what the Denver Broncos are doing on the offensive line, they already went out and added Bobby Massey. They went out and added Cameron Fleming. So do you actually need to go out and add somebody else, because you got your left side locked down? Love me some Dalton Reisner. Cushenberry is, up and down here and there. Glasgow, he's solid. But the right tackle position, obviously you want to be able to sit here and protect somebody great, whether that's going to be Drew Lock, whether that's going to be Teddy Bridgewater. Who knows? Maybe it's going to be Aaron Rodgers. But is it smart to really go out and have a three-way competition at right tackle between Massey, Fleming, and Rick Wagner? Now let's look at what he did in 2020 in terms of his Pro Football Focus grades. Again, this is in 13 games. Was able to play in 610 total snaps, an overall grade of 77.0. That's an above-average grade, which is one of the reasons why he was actually one of the top offensive lineman free agents listed by PFF. Pass blocking, 78.1. Run blocking, 69.3. But something that I really also want to be able to show you guys in terms of Rick Wagner and really where he breaks down in some of his snaps being played. 752 snaps back in 2019, 982 snaps in 2018, 791 in 2017, 920. As you can see, you're starting to see a little bit of a common theme here where he played a lot in 2015, a little bit less, went back up, a little bit less, and now 610 this past year. That could just simply be more of an age thing. So when I saw that the Broncos should go out and add Wagner, I figured, you know what, I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to give you guys my 2 cents. He's a good player, and if you could guarantee me that he's going to be 100% healthy, I'd be a little bit more open to it. However, is he really much better than Bobby Massey? I'm not really sure. Is he really much better than Cameron Fleming? Honestly, yeah, he's probably better than Cameron Fleming. But if you want to go out and get a right tackle, there's other top OTs out on the board. So you got somebody like Morgan Moses, who I actually think is the top guy out there. If you're like, you know what, I don't trust Massey, I want an offensive tackle, Moses is probably the route I would go. Mitchell Schwartz, if he's fully healthy, but that back scares me a little bit. Russell Okung is solid, however, he's a left tackle. And then you got Rick Wagner. So what I'm going to ask you guys is this. If you had to pick one to sign and you needed an offensive tackle, and if you needed a right tackle, because that's the important question here, I want you to type 1 for Morgan Moses. I want you to type 2 for Mitchell Schwartz, type 3 for Russell Okung, or if you're going to go with Rick Wagner, I want you to type 4. Manscaped just released a brand new product called the Lawnmower 4.0. I lost my train of thought because I was just memorized by how awesome this new design looks. 20% off and free shipping on the best male grooming products out there. But you got to remember to use promo code CHAT, and you got to remember to go to manscaped.com/chat, or else we don't get any credit. And then Manscaped's like, well, you know what? We're not going to sponsor any of the shows anymore here. One of the biggest reasons why I tell guys that, hey, you got to take care of yourself, because ladies like it. Think about it. If you're some schmuck and you're just walking around with all this hair looking like Bigfoot, chances are she's not going to be really into it. Now, maybe she's into a little bit of chest hair. That's fine. The changeable blades, you can either totally shave your chest or you can actually just, trim it up a little bit. The important thing also is this. You can change your blades. So you're not going to shave your downstairs, but you shave your chest, your underarms, your face. Different blades all the time. Manscaped's hooking us up here, and they're hooking up y'all too. So manscaped.com/chat in the comments and in the description. Are the New York Giants going to go out and add offensive guard Trai Turner? This is the story by Bleacher Report. So the Giants, they released Kevin Zeitler this offseason. Zeitler was one of those players where a lot of people thought maybe he could have been a little bit better here and there. Don't get me wrong, he was once one of the better offensive linemen in the league, but they decided to move on from him. But if you're still sitting here glaring like, you know what, we need to be able to protect Daniel Jones. We did a lot of good things this offseason. You added Kenny Golladay. You're hoping Evan Ingram can take that next step. Sure, you released Golden Tate, but the biggest thing is this. You need to figure out whether or not Daniel Jones is the guy. And if you believe that you have a weakness on that offensive line, potentially going out and adding somebody like Trai Turner to really bolster that interior could be something that the Giants look at doing. Now, if they do go ahead and do it, they're going to have to move around a little bit of money because only $4.9 million left in cap, which I actually think would be enough to get Turner, but you still have to go out, sign a few other players here and there, especially your rookies. The biggest glaring thing with Turner is this. When you look at his entire production from start to finish, last season was an eyesore. Played in only 9 games, allowed him 1 sack, but the biggest reason was the injuries. But when you look at what the Giants are rocking with right now on this offensive line, there is a lot to be desired here, especially on the interior. Do I believe that a fully healthy Trai Turner would be an upgrade on this offensive line, especially on the inside? Yes, I do. But I also don't know if he is 100% healthy and 100% ready to rock and roll. So what do y'all think here? I want you to comment below. Should the Giants go out and sign free agent offensive guard Trai Turner? If you're like, you know what, Mitch? You made some good points there. I do think they should. I want you to type A for yes. If you're like, well, the injuries scare me, he's coming off a bad year, I want you to type B for no. But seriously, go down, let me know. Here's his 2020 grades, though, from PFF. Not good. 536 snaps. The overall 34.8. This is basically bottom of the barrel in terms of grading, according to Pro Football Focus. 51.3 pass block grade and a run block grade of 29.8. I know that doesn't make Saquon Barkley very happy whatsoever. But what I want you to look at is this, all right? Because from 2019 to 2015, he was a 5-time Pro Bowler. So if I told you, when fully healthy, Trai Turner has the opportunity to be a Pro Bowler, that would spark some interest, right? I mean, the dude's still only 27 years old. However, when you do look at some of these numbers, I mean, this to me is like an average grade at best in 2019. 2018 is a little bit above average. Then 2017, 2016, 2015 was his better year. The other issue is this. Turner's snaps have been going down. His grades have been slowly going down. His ability to stay healthy has slowly been dwindling. And at 27 years old, that does scare me quite a bit. But if you can go out and get him on a 1-year deal, which is a lot of the deals that are ending up happening here in free agency because the cap's a little bit lower, the cap's about to go back up, and if I'm Turner, I would take a 1-year deal. I would try to prove myself, and then when the cap goes up to 208.2 mil or whatever, then you can go out and sign a bigger deal. But let's just say you're a little bit scared about Turner, but you're like, you know what? We need to go out and add some sort of guard. In my personal opinion, here are your top free agent guards. It's not pretty. You got Joe Dahl, Nick Easton, Brett Jones, Colecchio Simile, and then, yes, you got Trai Turner there in the beginning. So if you're the Giants and you want to go out and sign one of these guys, who would you sign? Well, you're going to go with the TTs? Type Trai Turner. You're going to go JD, Joe Dahl, Nick Easton, NE. If you're looking for a great Brett Jones, you know what to type. And then Colecchio Simile, when healthy, is solid. However, he did not end the season very healthy. I want you to go ahead and type KO. What's the latest rumors going on here around the New York Giants? Not that this really impacts the Giants all that much, but I saw this name Brandon Jacobs potentially returning to the NFL, and I was like, you know what? I know a lot of G-Men fans out there that would be pretty interested to hear this. So the latest around Jacobs is apparently he's serious about returning to the National Football League. And I laughed when I saw this story, but then I also appreciate that Jacobs had the cojones to say, hey, I was inspired by Tim Tebow's return, so if he can do it, why the hell can't I? Tebow's 33 years old. Jacobs is, 38 years old, so there's a little bit of a difference there. But I do remember my days in the old, playing fantasy football, watching the Giants, and Jacobs was one of the biggest dudes out there on the field. I mean, you can't deny that. And I get that he used to be a running back, but he was a power running back, really, when power running backs were popular, and he was still even a lot bigger than other dudes. And now he wants to play defensive end. That I'm interested in. So here's the exact quote from Brandon Jacobs on Twitter. Well, since Tebow came back after being off a good bit, I am announcing today that I too will come back. I will play defensive end for whatever team gives me a chance. All right, it's pretty interesting there. I'm really serious about coming back as a defensive end. I can still run. I am strong. And there's no way Tim Tebow is a better athlete than I am. All right, well, we might have to figure that one out ourselves. I just need a shot at that's it. If I can't cut it, I'll take it like a man. Just give me one chance. That's all. Urban Meyer, I don't know if you're watching the show, but seems like you do a lot of crazy stuff like this. But be honest with me, all. Will Brandon Jacobs return to the NFL? I want you to type R for return, or I want you to type D for this guy is done. It's a cool story. I understand that he wants to come back and play, but if I'm an NFL team and I'm going to give a 38-year-old a chance, I can't wrap my mind around that, so I'm going to go ahead and type my D for done. Now, again, this guy was a little bit bigger, so a lot of times when you talk about a running back converting to a defensive end, some people might laugh at it. But he was 6'4", 264 pounds, at least the last time that he played, which was all the way back in 2013. But even that, even 6'4", 265 pounds, that's undersized as a defensive end. I'm sorry, it is. Now, he's got awesome highlights on, all these great places where he's knocking guys over, and he was once a very fun running back, especially at the goal line. I mean, look at these numbers here. 1,141 carries, 5,094 yards, average 4.5 yards per carry, and 60 touchdowns. Now, I'm going to pat myself on the back. I'm also going to give a shout-out to producer Sam, and we found some pretty interesting stats here. If he wants to go ahead and play defensive end, well, why not show his career defensive stats? Now, we found the picture, which you guys can see, is him just absolutely laying out somebody. Now, most of these tackles either come from a fumble or a pick by Eli, and if you're a Giants fan, you know there were plenty of picks by Eli. But 14 total tackles, 11 solo, 3 assists. Obviously no sacks, because guess what? This man has yet to play defensive end. Now, one thing that we like to do here at Chat Sports is talk about some of the biggest stories that grab people's attention. If you like sports, if you like the NFL, this is starting to grab my attention. And the reason why I really think that this is intriguing is because let's just say Tim Tebow starts this whole thing where old players think that he can come back and start a whole new career at a new position. It reminds me a lot of what boxing is starting to turn into, where they're just trying to grab headlines. They're just trying to grab big-name people, right? Like a Logan Paul, a YouTuber who's now starting professional boxing, getting some of these big fights against somebody like a Mayweather. What if the new form of the NFL is starting to go with guys like Brandon Jacobs, Tim Tebow stealing headlines? I'll tell you one thing, it's going to be something to stay covered here on Chat Sports. Make sure you guys are watching, and if you're having a good time, like the vid.